I'm going to share an idea with you that I wish I knew when I was starting. If I could tell my 17 or 18-year-old self this premise and truly help them understand it, I would be way further ahead than I currently am now. Let's get started. So as we all know, it's pretty painful to be broke. This hurts. Being broke and having no money, well, you're going to suffer quite a lot because, you can't do anything. You've got no control, no freedom over your life. Maybe you're broke right now. Maybe that's why you want to start a business. Maybe there's all these emotions that come with it. Good. Those emotions will fuel you. Okay. So being broke is painful. Now, we also know, right, in addition to being broke, we also know that business is painful, right? Because to build a company, you have to stretch yourself. You have to become someone new. You have to get rejected. You have to, burn yourself out. You have to burn lots of calorific kilojoules, right? In terms of thinking, you have to use your brain a lot. And the body doesn't like to do that because, well, it likes to conserve energy and it likes activities that can just be run on autopilot through habit. Business, you can't really run through habit. You have to run through active, conscious, energy expending decision making. And so it's pain. Your body doesn't want to use this energy because it's afraid it's not going to get another meal, because fundamentally we are animals. So you've got two options here, right? Right now you're broke or business is painful. What I don't get, and what actually I do get it, but what I wish I knew when I was younger is that you've got to pick your pain. So this is the thing when people are doing like cold calls, or they're doing sales calls, or they're doing service delivery and it's not working. Like the first 6 to 12 months of your business are going to be horrible. They're not designed to be enjoyable. They're supposed to be bad. The market's going to test you. But when people do these things or activities, they're like, oh, it's so painful. Like, I think I might switch niche, or like, oh, I don't want to do it anymore, or like, oh, I'm just going to do this instead, or like, oh, I'm going to go and do drop shipping. All these methods of all these resistance things start cropping up out of nowhere. But here's the thing, right? Let me ask you, I said this to a client who was struggling to do cold calls. I was like, what's more painful, being broke for the rest of your life or doing cold calls for the next 12 months? Because here's the thing, is it's probably the cold calls, and a concentration of the pain of the cold calls, it may be like 100 times more painful than what it is to be broke right now. But when you look at the pain of being broke over a long tail trajectory for the rest of your life, the pain exponentially increases. Because you start having a family, and then you have a wife, and then like one of your parents gets sick and you can't do anything about it, and then you want to travel but you end up stuck to your mortgage, and you've got to start looking at the long-term life plan that you've got. Like, what is more painful, doing this and continuing to do this with all of your might for the next 2 years so you can actually build something useful, or being broke? Now, the sad thing about this, and the good thing about this, because it's sort of it feeds into both of these ideas, is that your body, right? Your body does not like pain. It doesn't enjoy it, as I'm sure you're aware. It doesn't like pain. It wants to get rid of it. It wants to avoid it. And here's the thing. This is how you build character and become successful, right? The body doesn't like pain. So if this is you here, let's say that, this arrow represents pain. When you're putting yourself in pain, in your body, it hurts, right? We'll put one there for comedic purposes. But, you're in all this pain, all of this shit's coming at you, the cold calls, the client complaints, the not being able to sleep because you're worried about not getting enough leads for your clients, or leads not picking up, or like people not converting on sales calls, or like objections or rejections, like all this pain, all this horrible stuff, right? It's coming at you from all these directions. But the thing about the body and the mind is it doesn't like pain. It wants to avoid it. And so when the body will learn, right? The body will learn that when your will is willing to tolerate the pain, the body learns to deal with it and basically strengthen. Now, we're going to use strengthen, but the body eventually learns to just like, what would you even call it? Adapt, I suppose. Where like you won't feel pain anymore. It adapts because your body and your brain don't want to be in pain. But if you give them no choice, then over time they will basically, like, instead of like kicking up too much of a fight for any longer because there's no point, because it just realizes it's like your will is just going to continue to produce all this pain, your body and your brain just say, all right, fine, we'll just stop thinking that cold calling is painful. And fine, we'll just stop thinking sales calls are painful. And fine, we'll stop thinking service delivery is painful. I had this with YouTube videos. I really didn't enjoy making them before, but then I just continued to make them over and over again. And my body and my mind eventually said, look, we don't want to be in pain, so we will just no longer register this as a painful activity. And that is the key and the secret, is if you do the painful thing over and over and over again, your body basically adapts and gets used to it because it doesn't want to be in pain. And so all of the suffering that you're going through right now to build this company, like, it's going to be more painful than ever. It's going to really hurt. And it's supposed to hurt because, like, if it was easy, everyone would do it. Like, why do you think people admire successful, rich people? It's because only a select few people have the character and will to actually withstand the suffering that comes with doing that. It's kind of like with having a six pack. Like, you know, people say like, oh, well, why can't having a six pack just be easy? Well, if it was easy, it would lose its value. Right? Because then everybody would have it, and if everybody has it, then it wouldn't be valuable, right? The business is obviously going to produce this pain, but if you just sit with it, if you just withstand it for a couple of years, you'll become stronger, where all of these things here no longer register as painful. They just register as activities. Now, the pain might never truly go away, but it might go from being like, you might go from feeling despair to just feeling a little bit bored, right? The body's always going to register cold calling as painful, or sales as painful, service as painful, perhaps. For example, I can do sales calls and cold calls and service now. I don't feel any pain towards it at all. I can make these YouTube videos. There's no pain. And that's a dangerous thing because that's a flat line of character. But, you know, you withstand it, and the body will just accept it and be like, oh, okay, we're now going to change and adapt. And then it will go from feeling horrifically terrified constantly to just feeling a bit bored, or just a bit like, oh, I've got to do this again. It never truly goes away, but you're never going to be suffering as much as you are now. Basically, the case in point and the rule in point is that every month, we're going to think in months here, not days or weeks, because it's too short of a time horizon for your body and mind to register numbness to pain. That's just the word I'm looking for, is your body becomes numb to the pain. That's the right adjective, whatever you want to use. Over every month that you sit in the pain, you become slightly more resistant to it and slightly more numb to it. Secret. Whereas if you're broke, right, the pain of being broke gets majorly worse, because your body doesn't become numb to this, because with this, if you keep going, you start to see rewards and results. And it's a combination of the repetition and familiarity that forces your body to numb and adapt to the pain, but it's also a combination of seeing the reward and the effort actually justifying itself through money, through freedom, through control. And then your body starts thinking, oh, okay, this pain's actually worth it, we'll tolerate it. But with being broke, it doesn't go away. But here's the thing, is that most people who are broke, like, they're in pain, but not that much. Now, that's a subjective statement, because obviously I don't know everyone's life ever. But if people were truly in pain who were broke, everyone would be taking action to fix it. Because, like, if you're in a real amount of pain, let's say that your one of your family members gets really sick, and you've got to make like $20,000 to pay for their stuff, and you can't get a loan, all options are exhausted, you will dance to save that person's life, right? So I don't care what anyone says, enough pain will force anyone to action. But most people who are broke, most people who don't have money, like, they end up just in this state of delusion where they're just getting by, right? They're in pain, but they've just sort of numbed to the pain, and they're registering it, but they've just accepted it as their state of life. And this happened with me with my diet, where for the last like 5 years I've been eating just sort of not shitty foods, but just not the best foods. I hadn't been eating the best diet, particularly optimal at all. And I was in pain, but I didn't realize it. I was like sort of a little bit foggy here and there, and like I never had like a huge amount of energy, and I'd have these sort of energy spikes, and sometimes like I was just inconsistently eating like the wrong foods and stuff, and like I just sort of didn't realize I had a problem. I just came to accept it. And that's the same thing as being broke. You know, like, question your diet. Dude, I was eating mayonnaise like every day for like 5 years. I was eating like loads of carbs every day for like 5 years. And like, I just would always never feel great. But I thought, oh, this is just how it is. And I realized that that's just a stupid statement. I just become deluded and numb to the pain of eating those bad foods. So that's how I think. This really helped me get to 8 figures. Trust me, it's painful now, but you will adapt and numb to it. If you want to look at my program that helps agency owners get clients and coaches get clients, there's a link in the description. Have a good day. this premise and truly help them understand it,